research at Modiphius, and it's good to finally see you again and talk about lots of things. There's Star Trek we have to talk about, something called Cohorts of Cthulhu, but I guess we're going to start off with Dreams and Machines.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So we've done quite a bit since we last spoke.
Yeah.
So Dreams and Machines is a world I've been working on for about 7 years. Started as a story about a little girl and a robot, as all good stories do. I love anime and post-apocalyptic sci-fi, but I grew up on things like Gamma World, really old school, kind of gonzo, post-apocalyptic role-playing game, all that early 70s, 80s science fantasy books by some of the greats. So I really love that whole idea of kind of rediscovering the ancient world, So I wanted a world that was more hopeful, a bit more feel-good, rather than that kind of grim futurist future where everyone's trying to screw each other over for a bottle of water. In our world, it's 200 years after the apocalypse. They bombed their own world into the Dark Ages to stop an AI that got corrupted from controlling all these big mechs to kill everyone. And, now people are rebuilding. They've got farming communities. You've got the descendants of people who survived in bunkers. Maybe they've got a tower with running water and power, or a medical facility. And they want to rebuild the old world, the archivists. We've got the dreamers who want to get rid of all the tech because maybe that's attracting the machines. You've got the spears, who are tribal groups that they're the people who didn't want to leave their homes, and they stayed in the cities and then banded together to fight the machines. And now their descendants are these tribal groups that when they come of age, they go hunting machines. They go and find machines that are waking up because occasionally they're coming back to life. And the big story is, why are the machines coming back? Is the AI rebuilding itself? Is someone else doing it? And that's kind of part of the plot line that we're unfolding. And all these groups are working together in different ways. They all have different opinions, but they're not fighting over their view of how to rebuild. But there's other groups who are trying to get them to.
So it's a little bit more teamwork and no backstabbing and
that comes out in the mechanics. So in the game rules, it uses our 2D20 system, but probably one of the lighter versions. And you only get XP, or what we call growth, not from killing things, but from when you fail. Rather, from when you run out of spirit, which is like your hit points, you go down. You're not dead. Depending on your temperament, you might be breathless, you might be despairing. But when someone helps you get up on your feet again, they get XP and you get XP.
Okay.
So, in the real world, when we fail and we get up on our feet again, we learn from the process. So we kind of brought that into the experience. So it really encourages groups to work together. It encourages you to put yourself in danger or in a position where you might fail, because that's how you're going to grow your character's XP, your powers and abilities. You also have friends, allies, who help you get your spirit back quicker. And you have rivals, and if they do something successful in front of you, you're like, damn it, I need to get up. And so that helps you get spirit back as well. So again, it's all about the relationships of people together, affects how you grow as a character.
Okay, yeah, it sounds also like your character creation is also group creation. So you have all these things from the start?
That's right. And also we have these really cool advanced archetypes that you can't choose at character creation. The only way to get them is if you die or if you retire your character. So everyone has, in the main rulebook, you have short-term goals and a long-term goal. Long-term goal might be like, I don't want to keep fighting monsters and risking myself. I want to settle down and have kids. So my short-term goals are get enough money, meet a partner, find a farmhouse we can afford, and then I'm out. So why would you do that? Okay, first, because there's really cool characters you can unlock. But what we're trying to encourage people is to build up a community of people that you care about. Because, of course, you're role-playing as being part of a community, but you don't really care about any of the NPCs because you just started playing. You didn't grow up with them. So as you gradually retire your characters, you're going to build up a group of people in the background who are NPCs that you played. And you're like, okay, we got to defend our community because like we got to look. Julie's got her kids now, right? And Dave's like having his, he's building his farm, and so now you start to care about them. And one of the mechanical bonuses of following your short-term goals is every time you hit a short-term goal, you get a massive boost of XP. So you're really incentivized to follow your path. But at some point you're like, okay, look, after the next adventure, I'm out. That's it. And so you're going to build your story of your community, or you might be up against a really powerful machine, and it's like, look, we're not going to survive this. I'm going to sacrifice myself, and you risk dying. So when you go down, that's when you're going to die, but you're going to get a big boost of power and abilities, resources in the scene. So if you die, you also get to unlock one of the new powerful archetypes. You get to spend half your XP on that. And now that character's sacrifice is really important, because when the group is in trouble, when the chips are down, you can be like, look, we can't let Chris's sacrifice go in vain. We've got to get up and fight. And that's that moment in the movie.
Oh, no, Chris done first.
Yeah, I know. It's always me, right? It's that moment in the movie when in slow motion, everyone comes up and starts fighting again. So it's like, I have this really big belief that in failure, in loss, we can always find, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. There's always something positive that comes out of failure and loss. And that's what we're trying to get across in this game. And also, when you look at the books, when you look at the art, it looks like a 12-year-old girl took our rule book and scrawled all over it. She's pressed flowers into it. She makes her kind of sarcastic comments on some of the stuff we've written and the artwork. And she's like put little stick drawings of monsters into it. So it's got this like childlike delight to the book. And and she's actually a character in the story called Kari. She's a little girl and she's playing in the garden. There's an overgrown mech there. And when the machines come back to life, very rare and infrequently, but when they do, they kill everyone. And the machine wakes up in her garden when she's painting on it. She's painting like pretty faces on it, annoyed with her parents. And it comes back to life, and it puts its arm out and a butterfly lands on its arm. And it doesn't kill her. And so the adults are all like, okay, it's going to kill you. It's just a matter of time. We've got to destroy it. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, he's my friend. Like, don't be ridiculous. And they're like, no, he's clearly broken. He's going to kill you at some point. And in the end, she has to run away from home because the adults don't believe her, don't believe that this machine maybe is different. And so the novel is going to tell her story as she travels the world and learns about...
Oh, there's going to be a novel.
Oh, yeah. So there's going to be a series of novels as we learn about her, as she grows up and she becomes a young woman. It starts as she's 12. She has to go on the run with Abe, the machine. He just makes sounds, but he can listen. He understands her. And so gradually they're going to learn about the factions, the different characters and creatures and the secrets of the world. And the whole plot line revolves around her and her relationship with this machine. And that's going to be unveiled over time. We're also going to use the big campaign books to unveil new factions, new parts of the story. So there's a 3-year storyline that's going to lead to the big finale in our world, and then there'll be a new story that unfolds after that. So it's a bit like I want to take people on a journey of a big TV series, and there's a finale, the big double episode at the end. But we've got a lot of cool adventures to have before then, as we're going to learn about all the different factions and the plots and why the machine's waking up again.
And since you've been working on this for 7 years, so many of things sound like it reminds me a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn with the design, with the skyscrapers that are overgrown and some kind of peaceful. The story with the killing machine that is actually peaceful. It reminds me a little bit of Overwatch lore and things like that. But It seems like that started like around the same time, like this wave of more hopeful dystopia or anti-dystopia.
That's right. Actually, Polygon just did a good article on hope punk games. This new genre of games. And I think, you only have to look at the world around you. We're living in a difficult time. People are worried about the future. There's enough horrible stuff happening on the front lines of Ukraine. We don't need to see that in our games. And, look, I love action, adventure, grimdark games as much as anyone. But I really wanted to create a different world. When we did Free RPG D-Day, we did a colouring book, not a quick start, because we could. And we wanted to be a bit different. It's a great game for families. it's full of danger and excitement and scary monsters, but there's no swearing, there's no gore in it. It could be played by families, it could be played by anyone. It's definitely got this feel good. When you open the book, you're going to smile at like just the cute artwork and the fun stuff. And we've tried to make this box playable out of the box. So you could literally take this, sit down in the corner of the hall here and start playing, because the moment you open the tutorial book, it tells you to give out the cards for character creation. You use 3 cards to create your characters, very simple choices. And the rule book, the tutorial, holds the GM's hand and like, okay, read this. Now tell them to roll this dice through the first adventure, and then gives you a whole campaign to play. So it sets you up with all the tools you need as someone maybe new to games mastering, maybe new to role playing, let alone normal groups.
Yeah, and also when I lifted one of those, I had this effect that I misjudged how heavy it was going to be. Like, so how much is this?
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, we've got cards for all the locations, all the equipment, all the people you're meeting. You don't need to write anything down because you've got all the cards for the characters and tokens and equipment. All the cards have got pictures on them of, like, you know, often in this game, like, well, I don't know whether I want to be a river. A river's a trader who goes exploring. Do I want to be a tech as opposed to a grabber who's like an explorer? Why would I want to be those? Okay, well, that's what they look like. So it's like, okay, she looks cool. I'll give that a try. And so the GM has cards for locations. You turn up at this laboratory, this is what it looks like, or this warehouse full of machines. And they have cards that are used to tell you what the big machines are going to do each action. So it gives lots of information for the games master to help them run the game, to make it easier, but to show the players what the world looks like. You know, this is a world of 10-mile high, beautiful skyscrapers and overgrown ruins with flickering holograms walking around. This kind of beautiful ancient world that's in ruins. And you've got all this awesome equipment that you're going to discover, and you're going to discover like knowledge fragments, which are bits of information about the old world. And rather than have this huge lore book, we're putting all the information on the old world into handouts. Mm-hmm. And the players, when they find them, get knowledge fragment counters, tokens that they can cash in, because people will pay you for that information. Some people will pay more than others, and then you can use that to buy cool new equipment. So the players have an incentive to go looking for information, learn about the old world. And
this is so much artwork and really, really gorgeous. How do you do it?
Well, we've been working on it for a long time. We started doing artwork, about 6 years ago, and just gradually adding to it and you know, developing the world. And once we decided we were launching it this year, you know, we went into overdrive. You know, I was writing we were writing a story about a girl and a robot, and I'm a guy. So I brought in 4 amazing women creators from film and TV and video games and tabletop to help me kind of structure that world from a different perspective, not just a guy's perspective. And then as we got really into the creation, we put a really good creative team together to bring in disability into the world, to bring in different cultural references, different belief structures, just different voices to give us quite a very, and you'll see from the artwork, it's very diverse, just a different feel to it. You know, we've got this interesting faction. Oh, that we did have people behind us. The Spears are people who they stayed in the cities to fight the machines, and they evolved into these tribal groups that would, when the machines wake up, they hunt them and destroy them. And that's actually their coming of age, is to hunt the machine. And they have these electro spears that have a monoblade and a big EMP blast to take down the machines. And the spears are covered in like little woven bits of fabric and coils of cable, and each bit is a story of someone who wielded this spear and the machine they took down or the people they protected, and they have a storyline. And when you come of age, you go into the armory and you meditate and you wait for a spear to pick you. You don't choose the spear. And so these spears have been wielded by all kinds of people down through the last couple of 100 years. And the spears have this philosophy that no one gets left behind, which isn't about someone falls in battle, you carry them out. is they make sure, and they have a lot of disability because their communities are kind of based around the more radioactive, dangerous areas. So they make sure that no one feels emotionally, mentally, physically left behind, that they're not good enough. So they ensure that everyone is like, okay, you have a bad leg, we'll make you a prosthetic. You're missing an arm, we'll make you a prosthetic. You're having breathing difficulties, we'll get you a breather. No one in the community feels like they're not good enough to compete with the best in the community.
So exactly like how do you say it's the anti-Walking Dead? So no one is like a drain on our society that we have to leave behind because the world is so harsh. No, the world is harsh, so we need everyone, and everyone is coming with us. Yeah, I mean, it's that their whole community revolves around the fact that they make sure everyone feels a valid part of it. It doesn't matter what disability you have or what mental problem you might have or how you feel about yourself. Everyone feels valued, and they go out of their way to help someone to come on the hunt, to be a part of their community. Okay, the game sounds like a really, really beautiful breath of fresh air. I hope so, honestly. Yeah. So I'm very interested. I'm very curious what is going to happen over the next 3 years with the story. Yeah, but I'm excited to share it. And also, but we need to talk about other things because Star Trek, as you know, is the game is also very popular in Germany. So we're always keen to know what's coming next. So we just released the Lower Decks supplement, of course, based on the crazy adventures of the crew members. And so that's really all about how to run Lower Decks style campaigns with a lot of comedy in it. And with the stats of the ship from the Lower Decks series, and then we've also got the Captain's Log that just launched. So Captain's Log is a Star Trek Adventures solo role-playing game book. It's standalone. You don't need the core book. It's got 4 different covers. So depending on which era, like DS9, original series, Next Gen, Discovery that you like, and you create your character, you create your ship. And you go on these, procedurally generating random adventures. So it's going to be different every time, and it's our biggest hit ever in its first week. And it just shows that there are plenty of gamers who either don't have a gaming group, don't have a GM. Maybe they do have a GM, but they want to role play more. And this gives you the ability to play when you want, wherever you want. It's a great little digest-sized book, and that's been an amazing hit. So. Yeah, I've seen there's lots of solo mode games. I think it started because of the pandemic, and then suddenly people realized people want that. People want to try that. Yeah, I mean, we've also launched the Iron Sworn Starforged solo game into retail, which has been really successful as well. We've got our own solo Games Master Guide book with kind of general advice on running the world's most famous game and TD20 and other games solo, lots of advice. So it's definitely a growing genre. And myself, I love solo games. Like our Wasteland Warfare Fallout game is solo co-op. The Elder Scrolls Miniatures game is solo co-op. Our Skyrim board game can be played solo. Our next project, Cohort's Cthulhu, big new role-playing game. I'm also doing a war game that is designed to be played solo and co-op. From the ground up. And that's the other big IP that we've been working on. I've got such a great team now. I'm free to let my mind go crazy and develop these mad ideas. And that's more, dangerous and dark adventures on the Roman frontier. And the first adventures are set in Germania. So we've got Romans, Germanic peoples, hunters, scouts, legionaries, Greek philosophers, Syrian merchants, all kinds of diverse characters who meet up in this frontier town. It could be Keep on the Borderlands if you know your D&D, Old Adventures. It just happens that the soldiers in the fort are wearing Roman armor. But this is your archetypal town on the frontier, full of threats, full of conspiracies, dangers in the woodlands, in the mountains, ancient ruins to discover, ancient treasures to find, long lost gods awaking,
horrific creatures. So it's another 2D20 game. It's based on our Acton Cthulhu rule system, but with a bit more brutal melee combat.
I was about to say, it's like a little bit going back to your roots, because Court of Cthulhu was one of the things that Modiphius started out with.
That's right.
And now back to Cthulhu and history in Germany and around Germany, but just go a bit further back.
Yes, that's right. And it's the same universe.
Oh, okay.
So this is the same storyline, the same monsters you're going to be encountering the same ancient gods. But there's going to be some little Easter eggs between both worlds.
I was about to ask if you can recognize. So this is what the place looked like, or this was what this cult did 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. And so you're going to be learning about some of the stories that will be relevant in the Acton Cthulhu world, and we're expanding. We call it Against the Gods Themselves, because it's really the story of this woman Maren, who's kind of like a Gandalf-style character in Cohorts Cthulhu. In Acton Cthulhu, she's a different character. She's kind of working for the Germans. She's got her own faction. She knows that the Nazis are going to turn against the people. And so she plays this character that fought the outer gods millions of years ago as part of the Hyperborean people, say, galaxy-spanning culture that fought the gods. And so she's been kind of rebuilding civilization on Earth. She did it with Atlantis. It failed. It got corrupted by Sarthothus, this kind of madness god. She's doing it with Rome, and she goes back to sleep for a while, turns up, and all hell's breaking loose again. And so she kind of recruits bands of heroes to fight back against the darkness. So you have this opportunity to join this kind of fight against the sort of insidious outer gods. There's all sorts of different factions that are kind of helping each other or, fighting amongst each other. And you've got to weave the politics and kind of, make friends with maybe hated enemies. The Romans hated the Germanic peoples. The Germanic peoples hated the Romans. But they're going to have to overcome those difficulties to fight the cults that are threatening the peace.
And it also sounds like a little bit more of heroic stories and kind of a better chance against the monsters than with usual Cthulhu. That's
right. I mean, even our Acton Cthulhu is very much a two-fisted, more pulpy Cthulhu world. Like in our world, I describe it like the gods are gods with a little g. They can be defeated ultimately, but they're almost impossible to defeat. But you have a chance. You can go down fighting. You can punch Cthulhu in the face, and it's very much a hope-filled, dangerous, threatening, Cthulhu mythos story where there is a fraction of a chance. If we pull out all the stops, if we work together, if we work with our enemies, we might be able to pull this off. But, a lot of us will die in the process, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. I see a through line here with most of your projects. The glass is half full, there's hope even in the darkest moments.
That's right.
The thing is, you don't this idea of hope, of helping each other, you don't just put it in your game design. It's something that you practically actually do with charity. So what Modiphius do? What do you do?
So my wife is from Belarus, who obviously in the last few years, the people there suffered a lot from the regime that kind of faked the election again. And, we've been trying to help people in Belarus who've been suffering from the crackdowns. And of course, just over a year ago, the Ukraine war happened when Russia invaded. So we started a charitable project called Roll versus Evil for the tabletop community. And the idea is, why fight evil on the tabletop if you don't actually do it in the real world? And so we wanted to be able to go, they're evil, let's work together and raise some money. I mean, the long-term goal is we want to combat human trafficking, which is one of the biggest evils in the world. And it's very easy with human trafficking to go, there is someone who's trafficking people in this town, let's take them down, and to work with the authorities to help raise money for that. Right now, there was a huge humanitarian need in the front lines in Ukraine. So we've been working with people on the front lines who can go, we need to get some more people out of Kharkiv. Can you get a bus? So we hired Ukraine football team's bus and paid the driver to go in there and helped drive out some old people who didn't want to leave without their little cat or dog.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old people that don't want to leave their home, and also they're 20 stories up in an apartment block and everyone else is left. There's no one, they don't know anyone to help them get out. So we paid for that. We sent 80,000 foot warmers and generators and medical kits and splints for broken legs. So we've been finding all these kind of frontline needs where they need some money now, or they need something like next week, not in 5 months or so on. So we did a lot of fundraising where we said, look, go and play a game, and if you want to re-roll the dice, pay $1. If you want to draw another card, pay $1. Like, any excuse to throw some money in, put it into our Just Giving account. If you go to roll-vs-evil.com, you can find out about what we've been doing. There's a Just Giving page. We've already finished the first phase. We actually raised, in all, including private donations, about £100,000 that we've been using for frontline aid. We've now got another wave starting with a new Just Giving page. So we're encouraging people to, play some games and donate money, and we're showing people what we're doing with it. We've got pictures of, aid getting to the front lines, and great stories of people being helped. And so we're just really doing what we can to, give a positive bonus. We did just actually at Gamma, I went around and got videos of like messages of support from loads of people in the games industry, and I sent them out to a girl in the community in Lviv in Ukraine, and they've edited them together as a message of hope for the community, because sometimes it's not about the money or another pack of food, it's the mental support that people need out there, because they're just going through so much and they're constantly having to fight and struggle, and constant threat of missiles blowing up your home. So they just need the support of people going, look, we're with you. We'll keep fighting.
You're not forgotten.
Yeah.
Because so many people that at some point the pain becomes blunt if you're not with it all the time, and then people just turn to other things.
And it's very easy for people to lose sight of their humanity in that terrible crisis. So again, it's about giving people hope, whether it's through messages of support, practical aid, which obviously of course really counts. Like, we've got one of the big retailers in the UK to send about £1 million worth of sanitary products and vitamins and health bars, because there's places where there's no fridges, there's no food shops open, there's no you're lucky to get a decent meal. So getting any kind of health supplements for pregnant women, for just kids and old people is vital. And so there's all sorts of, we just sent a load of, I think about 100 stretchers out for some of the medical units. And we're doing battery packs at the moment, because the paramedics that are on the front lines, where soldiers that need immediate operation, or people who've been hit by shrapnel from bombs in their hometowns, they can't run a generator because it'll attract missiles and artillery. So they need a quiet power pack that will run the equipment for them to operate. So it's just like every week we find out about something that they need. So.
Okay, so keep rolling against evil. So I'm thinking about where if we can do like a charity stream and something like that to add to that.
Would be amazing.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, like Star Trek or other games of yours that have this hopeful kind of outlook are just
Star
perfect
Trek
for
has
them.
a great history of stories of rescuing civilizations.
Yes.
So
thank you so much, Chris, and thank you so much for giving like a good view at humanity and possible futures and hopeful games.
Thanks very much.
Unser letzter Tagesordnungspunkt auf der Gencon ist, Würfel abzuholen bei den Leuten, die schon seit Jahren die Würfel für unsere Patrons machen, die wir als Giveaway haben. Und das sind die Leute von Level Up Dice. And Jamie here from Level Up Dice, he's going to be able to answer some questions. I hope. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, very welcome.
Tell me a little bit about Level Up Dice, because we've been doing business, and I know you make custom dice and you make bigger numbers of custom dice. What is kind of the core of the business for Level Up Dice?
So we're all about luxury. We want to make the most expensive and interesting dice that we can, and more than that, we want to innovate. We want to find new ways to use dice at the table and to make them more accessible for people as well.
So what are the weirdest materials? Because I've seen it, you have like gemstones here and different kinds of glass and metals. What is kind of one of the weirdest things or the hardest things to find out how to make dice out of that you have?
Sure. So we've done some really interesting pieces in the past. I know we often get customers coming to us with something that they want to be made into dice.
Oh, okay.
So we've had interesting things like rubies. We've had somebody bring a piece of the Berlin Wall. We've had someone with when they clean the Statue of Liberty, there's metal scrapings come off, and they wanted those put into dice. All sorts of really, really obscure things. Probably my favorites, actually, though. We do a set of dice called unicorn horns, which are I'll get one for you in a second to show you. Okay. But basically, what they are is they're designed for people who have arthritis or carpal tunnel who can't close their hand to roll. So instead, they just roll off your hand open, and then you can roll them around on the table, and they're magnetic and interchangeable, and very exciting technology.
Okay, so just not just the materials, but just how can you redesign dice to make them more accessible for the hobby?
Exactly, yes. So we really look for ways to make the dice industry inclusive for everyone, as well as appealing to everyone's tastes with different gemstones, different metals, woods, whatever sort of materials we think are going to be interesting. Yeah,
and as you said, you're looking like at the luxury dice. So how much do these sets go for? Just a rough estimate, what like the lowest one, highest one, things like that.
Sure. So most of our sets are between about $80 and $120 USD. They do go up higher than that. We have full tungsten sets that go up to about $650, and we do occasional special order pieces like we were talking about before that, they're priceless. Often what we'll do with that sort of thing is if there's enough material to make two, we'll just say, we'll make you one and we'll keep one. And that's the whole deal.
Okay, but I understand this correctly. People can just basically write here and say, I have this material, figure out how to make dice out of this.
Well, there are obviously challenges in doing so. So the size of the material, the toughness of it, whether it can actually be worked by our stone workshop and getting it there in the first place because it comes from all over the world. There's challenges, but yes, if someone's got something really interesting they want to make dice out of, please get in touch.
Okay, and last question, which is your personal favorite set of dice that you've made?
Oh, well, I have quite a few. Probably my favorite one is I have a set of what we call tune-touched titanium dice. So what we do is our artisan, the customer selects a song that they want, and the artisan will take a set of titanium dice and use a blowtorch to actually flame touch it, which changes the color of the metal in time with the music. So I have the only set in the world of danger zone dice.
Okay, I can't wrap my head around that. What does it look like? How does it look like?
It looks like a highly reflective, very dense metal. It comes in it's sort of blue and purple tones, but when you heat the metal, it actually changes the color permanently. Mm-hmm. So the amount of time that you keep the torch on it, the intensity of the heat will affect the colors. It's really, really clever. I love your little owl. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's the die for this year, the D12. Well, I guess next year we'll see where we go. We need a D4 and everything. We got to make the set full.
We can always just pick a new number of sides if you like.
Oh yeah, can we do like a 24 or 30?
Absolutely.
Very good. Okay, we're going to make a DCC die set at some point, I guess.